What's goody, Hot Breathiverse? Welcome back. This is Hot Breath Live, your weekly comedy tune-up with comedians Joel Byers and Yoshi So. Today is a very special episode. That was Yoshi. And we're both jazzed because we are diving into pins. We are sharing our favorite pins. We're going to nerd out on pins today. So if you don't like pins, then this is not the episode for you.
Yeah,
But
we're
if
still
you
going to talk
do-
comedy, though. We're still going to talk comedy, but
We are still going to talk comedy, so
yeah.
I should say for retention's sake that don't
Yes.
turn this off. We need to get that AVD up. That's average view duration. So hang out with us. Of course, we're going to be talking comedy, answering comedy questions.
Absolutely.
And we felt like on election day
Yeah,
that
let's,
we would lighten it up a little bit
yeah, let's get to debating.
and vote for our favorite pins.
Let's
So
go, baby.
this is what
Let's
we're going to go today.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and Aditya just commented love from India. Very
Let's
cool. Yeah.
go.
Seen Aditya on here before. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, we got hot breathers all over the world, and we love all of y'all.
All
So-
over.
Feel free to comment with your questions. If you aren't aware, we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So join our email list linked in the show notes, and I will update you on when we are going live and other fun hot breath happenings. So we're going to answer some questions, but we're going to get into some pins as well. So people in the live chat have some pins they've already posted. I have a pin. I'll kick this off as this is the pin that really started it all for me. This is the
The
pin
OG
that started it all.
The OG pin.
This is the OG pin. And it all happened. It was a dreary Monday evening. The venue was called Hole in the Wall
Ooh,
because
hole
it was
in
a
the
hole in
wall.
the wall.
Oh my God, that place brings back so many memories. It's the first place I did comedy where I cried in the car.
Amazing! Amazing. Yeah, they would do this show at like 11. It started
Yes.
at like 11 on a Monday.
Yeah, and they did not want to be there.
And a lot of the times they weren't there. That's for sure. But I remember the bartender had this pin,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, what is that? Because I, just waiting my turn, not listening to the other comics, like all respectful comics do. You should listen. You learn by studying others. It is valuable to
for
pay
sure.
attention.
Yes.
But and then she said she had no idea. Like this is I'm like some kid who's just, what kind of pin is that? She's like, I don't know. I found this. It's like I probably traded it for some cigarettes. And I got she let me see the pin and I clicked it and I felt the click and it was really smooth. And then I wrote with it and it was really smooth and just rolled along. And it's just very durable and affordable.
Yeah.
And it is the Bic Atlantis.
Mm,
The Bic
The
Atlantis.
Atlantis.
Now, when you go into stores, they now call it the Bic Glide.
Mm.
They call it Bic Glide on the packaging, but the actual pin still says Atlantis on it because that's what it is. The Bic Atlantis. It's just a good, affordable, durable pin. And it also comes in different styles as well. You can get just like the roller ball, but they also have a fine point. They have a
Yeah.
gel pen version. So you can really get the whole Bic Atlantis family at a really affordable price for just kind of your everyday driver. And you don't mind losing it.
Yep. Yeah. That's an important part about pens. Don't get
Yes.
too attached.
Yeah, dude. I went to Paris with my wife and family a few years ago, and I got a Parker pen. Now, they make real expensive pens. This was like $20. It was a Parker Jotter.
For
But it was
sure.
my foray into a nicer elevated pen.
For sure. Yeah.
And I
You're a
lost that.
connoisseur. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
a connoisseur now, and you were trying to add to the collection. Yes.
And then I lost it. Yeah. So,
Yep. Yeah.
but guess what? This Bic Atlantis, it will not go away.
Yeah. Somehow, some way, it just appears.
I
It's
can't
just
pay to
like,
lose this pen. But I get a nice one, and then it's like, where did it go?
Yeah. My favorite pen from the beginning until now, and I have one left. I think I've bought maybe in the 9 years I've been doing comedy. I've probably bought maybe 15 packs of these,
Uh-huh.
maybe it's just over the years. And it's a simple pen. It's the Sharpie S Gel.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
and the fine point just sticks. Right now, I will say there was a time when I was into erasable pens because I thought
Mm.
maybe I would like erase my jokes and then try to like rewrite it. But I'm off that now, and I stopped doing the erasable thing. But this Sharpie S Gel, dude, oh, reliable. Like, it
Yeah.
is just a reliable pen. It's been there since day one. It's there since day, you know, whatever many days I've been doing comedy, you know, 1,080, 200 or whatever it is. And it is seriously like just a reliable pen. It has never ran out of ink, like legit, ever.
It's an infinite pen.
Yeah, it's literally never ran out. I'm such a fan of this pen. Yeah.
Yeah, and the good thing about that pen, the S Gel, I love the S Gel, and I've seen in the live chat several people say the G2.
Mm,
And I'll tell you, like, several people have said G2. Probably in the live chat, that's the most popular one. But I will say, when we're talking gel pens, the G2, unlike the S Gel, the
mm-hmm.
G2 will smudge
Mm.
like crazy. But the S Gel, you write it and then like rub your finger on it, it's already dry. It doesn't smudge.
No
So
smudge.
that's why I like the S Gel as well.
No smudge. Yeah. No
Mm-hmm.
smudge. Yeah. Uh, yeah. It is a yeah. It's just a reliable pen. Like, it doesn't. I've never, and I'll say part of it is also I also realized that I used to see a lot of waiters and waitresses with this pen too. This is
Mm-hmm.
like their taking orders pen, and so I was like, oh, I'm in good hands. Like, I picked the right pen because I just kept seeing it over and over again.
You know what's funny is one time my wife and I went out to dinner and I noticed the waiter had a zebra, like the F301, like kind of the fine point one.
Yeah. I know zebras.
Which this
Those
is
old school.
one I'll usually take this out to shows. It's a good mobile pen. It's good on the go.
Yep.
It's like a fine point. So like I write in a notebook like this. It's like a
Yeah.
smaller pocket sized notebook. So I like a finer point so I can kind of get into the nitty gritty when I'm doing a set list.
Yep.
But I saw he had this pen, and then when he brought the check, he had a different pen. It was like a Bic stick, like the generic.
Yes.
And I brought it up to him, and I was like, "Where's the zebra?" And he's like, "Oh no, I don't let the customers use that one." He's like, "That's mine."
Oh
He's
yeah. I keep the Bic for the peasants. You
Yeah, he
don't
was
get
like,
to keep
"They'll
this.
steal." He's like, "They'll
Yeah,
steal my
they'll
pen."
steal this. Yeah. You get this Dollar Tree special. I'm keeping the Target for myself. Yeah.
Yeah. I caught him though. I was like, "Wait a minute.
That's so
Wait a
fun.
minute."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Corey said they're a Sharpie guy. Yeah, I'm definitely a Sharpie guy.
Yeah, I like the Sharpies.
And I'll
And
mix
then
it
the other,
up too.
yeah,
I
I'll mix it
will.
up too. Are you a
I
fine
like.
point or are you a ballpoint kind of person? You like the fine or you like the thicker? I'm a .38, like point anything less than .5 is what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm on the finer side. I do. I
Okay.
do like being on the finer side. But I will say I have been converted recently to fountain pens. It
Mm.
is. It's a different level. I don't want to.
Yeah.
My voice just changed even saying fountain pen. I have to talk with a little more je ne sais quoi now.
Yeah. But every time I think about a fountain pen, I just feel like I'm in like early Civil War. My dear, I gotta
Oh, yeah.
touch the
You don't want
tongue
to be
and then
there.
dip it in
Yeah. You definitely don't want. Yoshi definitely doesn't want to be early Civil War. That's for sure. Oh, that's hilarious.
I feel like it's a pen that you use to write to, like, your old lady after you've been out in the out and out on war, and you're like, "Oh, my dearest Linda, the
Yeah.
nights are cold and the days are even colder."
And I too had my doubts from afar, but when I got up close,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
whole
yeah,
new
yeah,
world. I
yeah.
went to, if anyone in Greenville, South Carolina, and I know there are, I know we got hop breathers in Greenville. If you ever go to Greenville, there's the best pen store ever called Truphae.
Mm,
Truphae. I've gotten a few pens from there now, but I went in recently with my wife while we were in Greenville, and the lady showed me a Lamy Safari. It's one of these, and this is like an entry. They had pens in there that were like 20 grand. It was ridiculous. Like these fountain pens are crazy.
wow.
I think this was 30, 30. I think 30 or 40,
Hmm.
but you can use fountain pens forever. So like I
Yeah.
got this thing of ink. Like a couple bucks, and it has like 5 cartridges in it. So you actually save money in the long term if you can keep up with the pen. And so far, I've been able to.
Sure.
But I've been converted, dude. A fountain pen hits different. I've never used one before, but it just has a different just user experience. Have you ever used one?
A fountain pen?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've used it. I use it. It just took me.
Oh,
You know
I'm
what it
not
was?
impressed.
It took me longer to write what I needed. Whereas when I'm with like my S gel, I just feel like I can just flow freer. With a fountain pen, I go a little slower. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
Hmm.
a fountain pen is like when I was using it, I think I was using it just to write like journaling. Whereas when I'm
Right.
writing jokes, I'm just trying to like dump everything out of my head. And so it didn't feel as fast.
Yeah, yeah. It's a different because it also has a cap, and
Yep.
I
Yep.
never use pens with a cap. I was always averse to it until this fountain pen. So it
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
different kind of
It's a
experience
different
to where
feel.
you, yeah, it's
Yes.
a totally different feel. But I do recommend everyone at least try one as it leaks all over me. What if it just like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exploded?
Yeah. You should have one fountain pen in your collection. I think that's important to have one fountain pen in your collection.
Hmm.
Um yeah. Yeah. Do you ever use pencils at all? Or is that just
I
blasphemy?
when I started, I was nothing but pencils. I used a mechanical
Mhm.
pencil on all my set lists,
Yep.
and those have since faded into oblivion for the most part because it was
That's the worst.
lead.
That's the worst.
But I use like these Papermate Sharp Writers. Like these are kind of your generic kind of teacher mechanical
Yeah.
pencil. I'll use these, but not lately. I went through a phase with them, and then I went through a phase where all I did was type for a while. But
Oh
now
yeah.
I'm just I'm on that pen game now, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I like
I'll pull.
writing. Even if I write a joke in my note, like in my phone, I will re transcribe it like in almost like final form on paper, just because I want to see how it's laid out.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference. There have been studies that have proven actually writing the kinetic exercise of physically writing helps with memory and retention and creative
Yeah,
thinking.
for
Because I'll get
sure.
asked that a lot when like I'm teaching workshops and stuff. I was like, "Oh, should we be typing or writing?" And it's really whatever you're gonna do. Like if you're gonna write more consistently as typing, go for it. If you're gonna write more consistently writing, go for it. But there have been studies shown that writing does have a different effect on your brain that really does spark creativity and critical thinking and things like that. You're more connected to what you're creating in that moment.
Yep.
But it's also personal preference if you want to type or write. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what also helps me is I'll mix up. I'll write with like a Papermate Flare felt tip kind of marker sometimes, or like a fine point Sharpie. I'll mix it up that way as well. I'll write on cardstock sometimes. I'll kind of mix it up to all the mediums just to kind of keep it spicy.
Nice. Yeah,
That
man.
heartburn.
It came back. It does that.
It snuck
It
back up
does that.
on me.
Yep. It does that. It's just like you just be walking and you're like, where's that from? You're like, oh, that's from breakfast.
Like, oh, so I'm just allergic to fun now. Okay. So that's what being an adult is you're allergic to fun and
Oh,
slowly
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
It
my
just it's just
body I think when I hit 30, that's when drinking like fell off a cliff. Like hangovers were just a different level. I was like, this isn't even fun anymore, dude. Like I have 2 drinks and then I'm tired and then I'm depressed for 2 days. So or have anxiety. And now food, it always I guess I could power through. I guess it would affect me as the years come on, but this heartburn's a new level. So
yeah. It's just a
anyone that
nice
was
little reminder that you're getting older and
yeah,
the goodies on the inside don't work the way they used to.
not
Yeah.
so fast pizza
Not so
party. Not so
fast. Yeah, yeah,
fast.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Your body's connecting. They're like, no, your stomach is not going to be able to take that Taco Bell that you had yesterday. It's
Speaking
just
of
we're
which,
we are different now.
your joke, that's a young man's game,
That's a young
which
man.
y'all should go watch Yoshi's special
Yeah,
available
yeah.
now on the Hot Breath YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
Go watch
Absolutely.
that. We premiered that last week.
Boom.
So
Wow.
go watch that. Get the views up. We trying to spread them comedy goodies.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that's I think it's sometimes it can help when if you're kind of in a writing slump or looking for new inspiration. I mean, sometimes going and getting a pack of pens and never opening them just kind of is what gets your juices flowing. I got an unopened pack in my cabinet right here that I went to Target and was like, I've never heard of these. Let me
Yeah.
get these and never open them.
I'll be honest. I have like there's just this collection of pens just like right next to me.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
when I'm feeling like a little inspired, I will just be like, all right, which one of these pens do I want to like change it up with? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I don't know if we did this during the hot breath, but I think one day when we were doing the live shows, I was like, all right, everybody, whatever paper that you're writing with, we're gonna change it up. I think when I was doing it when you were out one day, or you might have had the breakdown before or after. One of those days.
Very possible.
Yeah. And I was just like, just write on a different medium today. So whatever medium you were writing on, just change the medium out. And it sparked new ideas. So I think it's the same thing with your pens. Just write with a different pen every once in a while. See what happens.
And it can also help to change your environment as
Yeah,
well. If you're
absolutely.
feeling writer's block or uninspired, I mean, a lot of writer's block is you just overcomplicating and having all these expectations of the outcome instead of
For
just
sure.
showing up and
Just starting.
the success being in the process. So,
Absolutely. The quicker you
what,
get to action, the
yeah,
easier it is to get away from the writer's block.
yeah, which is really why I brought that $100 joke contest back because it's just the ultimate accountability of like, oh gosh, I have 2 weeks to write this new set. So
Boom.
let
Wow.
me get
Let's
on
get
it. So it's great
Yeah,
accountability. But
absolutely.
what can also help you is if you're writing at home all the time, go outside and write. Go sit in your car and write. Go to a coffee shop. Go to
The
the
park.
library.
Yeah,
I used to write in the
yeah.
library all the time.
I used to write at the park because I like people
Yep.
watching and just write and just like watch and just like do. Yeah,
Yeah. And
uh,
not even necessarily, you can go out and not like write jokes, write what you see. I mean, writing, it's just
absolutely.
like, it's the habit of pen to paper, sitting down and showing up to the page. And the more you do that, the more it
That's
becomes a
bars.
habit, and then it just becomes second
Bars.
nature.
Bars. Sitting down to the page.
You
What?
gotta show up to the page, there,
Showing
kiddos.
up to the page. I like that.
And these are things we have to remind ourselves of as well.
Oh,
I
of
mean,
course. Yeah,
it's not like every day I'm waking up writing amazing jokes or
yeah.
even writing. I'm
At
not
all.
perfect. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but yeah, it is part of the job though. And
Is
even if you don't come up with anything, there is like a compound effect to writing. I really do believe that. So having the right pen can just kind of keep you inspired and motivated to be like, oh, cool, I get to sit down with this pen today. And what'll also help is if you set up your writing area, like wherever, like could be by your bed or just whatnot, but just having the notebook and pen there, and even if you can have the notebook open to a blank page to where it's the least amount of friction as possible to actually start writing.
a really good idea. I like that.
That's really what it comes down to. Just
Yeah,
how
I
can
like
you
that.
lower
Just
the
having,
barriers?
yeah.
And these are all things and more you can learn in my workshop, Breaking Writer's Block, available now.
Boom, boom,
Available
boom,
now. I'll link
bow,
that in the show notes there.
boom, bow.
Got a baby due in December. No big deal.
No big
No big
deal.
deal. Money,
Putting in work.
diapers, everything
We
is
putting
free
in.
and very affordable.
We
So
putting in work, baby. We are available.
we
Available.
available.
You know what I mean? When people say low ticket sales, no, the ticket sales are high. There are a lot
Amen.
there.
Amen. Just like my
Amen.
heartburn is high.
Mm.
I'm gonna stop complaining. People in the pre-show show were like, "All right, we heard about
Yeah.
your heartburn before
We
the
got
pod started."
We
So
got it. We got it. We got it. There are some questions though.
there are some questions, and I apologize if I went off too
No,
far,
that's
but I
good.
did want to talk about pins. I just want to nerd out on and just kind of, it's election day, the politics.
Yeah.
Let's just have some fun. That's what we're just trying to be a positive escape for people, really.
Yeah, it's the Pentatix. That's what we're doing.
Yes. Oh yeah, and Zach, I don't even know what you said. I feel like that was a Pentatix. I feel like I
Pentatix.
agreed to something I shouldn't have there. That sounds like something
No,
Eyes
it's
Wide
okay.
Shut. Pentatix?
Pentatix. Yeah, that's what we're doing. It's the Pentatix day.
Oh, pin. Oh, like the word pin.
And yeah, that is what you call a pun.
Oh, when I bought my fountain pen at True Fate, the lady did say you have been pinfluenced. She did say that. So she was right. I love fountain pens now. So
Yeah, the bug hit you. She got you with the bug. She got you with the pin
she
bug.
got me. But yeah, Zach Newford said he gets a Lamy Safari, or a Pilot 823 if you're looking for a heavy hitter. Interesting. But there are all types you can get in. But I love, I just love pins. Could do a whole show on them. But let's get into some of the questions here. Let's do the one from Aditya because they followed up saying it's 4 a.m. here. Will you please answer my question?
Yeah, let's get it.
Because they're in India. So,
which we appreciate so much.
Which we do appreciate. Yo, the Hot Breathiverse is strong in India. I've heard from several comics in India that listen. So we appreciate that. So they ask, can you please help on how to tighten a set?
First Type 5.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, they followed up.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so basically getting that Type 5 together. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, let that heartburn hit you.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe this.
Let it hit. Yeah. Well, with the Type 5, the key to tighten up a Type 5 is usually just practice, right? From an order perspective, you want your best joke to be last, your second best joke to be first, and then everything else really in the middle. That's typically how you should tighten the Type 5 in terms of like getting it to like just nice and brief. And when you're tightening up a Type 5, really one of the biggest aspect is making sure that at least people know who you are and something about you, kind of like within the first 30 seconds or within the first minute of your jokes. And if you're just starting out, try to reach for 3 laughs per minute, just out of the gate. That's a good bar to have when you are starting out. Now, if you can get to more, even better. But when you're starting out, try to get to 3 laughs per minute within your type 5. And that's usually a good gauge. But best joke last, second best joke first, everything else sort of organized in the middle. But that's typically how you should tighten a type 5.
And this is tedious, and this is more of like the laborious side of developing your set. But honestly, like transcribing your set
Boom.
and bolding or underlining, annotating in some way
Highlighting. Yeah.
where all the laughs are.
Yep.
So now you
You
can
see it.
physically see, oh, I get a laugh at 25 seconds and I don't
Yep.
get another laugh until 55 seconds. So how can I add a laugh in between those, or how can I edit down that time to get those laughs closer together?
Boom.
So it's a tedious process, but that is how you start to tighten it up, and you start to really get mathematical about, okay, well, how many laughs per minute am I getting? And 3 is a great starting point. That's a good, every 20 seconds you're getting a laugh. That's a good pace starting out to just get your type 5 off the ground. But it starts with taking inventory on, well, what is my current 5-minute set? Where are the laughs? And then start to work on tightening that up by editing it down or adding more punchlines to the set.
Absolutely. Yep. And then when you transcribe, you're really, the other thing that you're really doing is just finding the words that you don't necessarily need, or the things that you are saying that are kind of just habitual, but that are not necessarily intended for the joke. That's how you take out the filler words. That's how you take out the ums, the ahs, or just the things that you say normally, right? I tend to say, here's the thing a lot. I have to check myself a lot with that. So yeah, it happens, but transcribing it, now you can't get away from it. You have evidence of the words that you actually say. And now you're responsible for, okay, if you want to tighten it, how do I do that? How do you take out the words? Is this needed for the joke? And if it's not, find a different way to write it.
And if you have a joke that's kind of fluffy right now, because we'll all do this developing jokes, we'll kind of talk around the point, or we have a lot of lead up to the actual joke. So just when you're trying to edit down a joke, ask yourself, what is the premise? And then look at how the joke is at the moment, and whatever doesn't serve, whatever doesn't enhance or reiterate that premise, cut that stuff out and just get to the point.
Yeah. Somebody asked, what is a prose like LPMs? Like scientifically, I would say probably the best pro who described it was Ralphie May. He's got this YouTube video out that he did from like back in the day at the Comedy Store. We were just talking about comedy. And I think his number was like 8 to 11 laughs per minute is usually like what a headliner gets. But I would say in recent years, laughs per minute really don't necessarily matter when it comes to headlining. Usually because those folks, you're just watching them for the funny, right? Somebody like Ali Sadiq, right? I remember when we were doing the comedy reviews, somebody like Ali Sadiq, his special wasn't getting 6 to 10 laughs per minute. But when you got the laugh, it was a sustained laugh for a hot second. It wasn't like, haha. No, it was like a belly laugh. It was deep. And he's a storyteller. So it wasn't like he was trying to hit you every single second with laughs, but the set itself was freaking phenomenal. And you couldn't get away from the fact that it was still very, very funny. So don't get too attached to laughs per minute, but I think it's a good thing to know when you are performing and you are sort of running into silence. That means you've got a long way between jokes where people are not laughing. And you want them in a rolling laugh to some degree, especially when you start out. And that also helps build your confidence that you can do the jokes. So it's just important to work that out.
Yeah, great question there. Great question. Next question I'm seeing is, and we hope that helped Aditya and anyone else listening, but I think we dropped some gems there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hud Taylor asks, "What's a good open mic lineup sheet and clipboard? I want to get one for the Bootstrap OM I go to. Open mic
Oh,
I go to.
yeah. I mean,
A good
just normal paper. I wouldn't overthink it. I just use a clipboard and like one of those yellow sheet things that you just kind of turn over. That's
mm-hmm.
typically what I use for open mics. But clipboard and a piece of paper works. I think the clipboard and piece of paper works mostly because if you keep it at just like one sheet, and that way people won't like try to uh, write on the back or go to another page. That usually helps. And if you have like a certain number of open mic slots that you're doing, put the number on the sheet itself, right? That way people know, oh, we're only going to do 20 spots or we're only going to do 10 spots. Don't open it up to where people are writing more numbers. Now you're just trying to keep going over and over and over again, unless you got like infinity time to just keep going on the open mic. But if an open mic is, 2 hours and it's 5 minutes a piece, you can only do like 20 people. That's just time,
Woo.
whatever. So you just gotta break that down. And if it's less time, you just gotta break those times down. And you gotta figure out like the filler time in between if you're hosting, and doing the time in between. But I would say just make sure you prep that piece of paper beforehand when you're doing a bootstrap open mic.
Yeah, dude. I did a patio open mic this weekend. Felt good. Felt good to
Yeah,
get back in there. I hadn't
yeah,
been in the trenches in a while.
yeah. You went from the rooter to the tutor. I see you.
Oh,
You went back to the trenches.
it's probably where my heartburn came from, is sitting through an open mic. No, but it was dope. It was fun to be there and watch and perform, and there was like a audience there, so you got good feedback. It was fun. So I just
Nice.
open mic made me think of, that
Yeah,
patio show, which is, I mean, I hosted a patio show for like, it was like 7 years.
you did. Yep.
Did
Memorable show.
all the weird there,
All the weird. That's the beauty of an open mic.
rubbing the walls. Did all. I remember there was we did the patio even during the winter time, and I remember there was one show. It was literally comics, and then a homeless guy standing in front of the heater, and that was the show. He's like, "We made it, making $25 a show and a tab. I got a tab there."
Mm.
And then, after like 3 or 4 years, I talked them up to 50 a show. I'm a mogul around here. I'm a mogul. We making money moves around here, fam.
It's time to double it up. I think the funny thing is,
Back to back.
I think you told me when you asked for 50, they're like, okay. They didn't even fight you.
No. They're like, we were wondering how long you're going to do that. But it was great reps. I learned how to host. I learned how to run a show.
Sure.
I mean,
Absolutely.
every comic should host a show at least once, just
At least.
so you learn the other side of this game. So when you do go to an open mic, it's like, when am I going up? Can I go up early? You'll show up late and then be like, can I go up early? Or when am I going up? When am I going up? And like
It's show up, go up.
it's annoying. All that is annoying. And when you run a show just once, you will have a new appreciation for anyone that runs a show.
Absolutely.
They're doing the Lord's work. You can make money
Work.
like running a show, but like I said, I did one for 25 and then 50. They don't all. Some of them, a lot of them are for the love of the game. So
For the love of exposure.
oh, I went up. I did a show Wednesday and then went to an open mic afterwards, and the open mic was over, and then I just like went on stage without an audience just to talk into a microphone. I was just fiending for it. Really, really ruined the brand with that one. I was like, this is a comedy flogging right now. This is
Oh,
just.
it's so funny.
Oh, okay. So Chris Summers asked, is gigging 100 times a year enough? 3 times a week, watch your set, reflect. Versus gigging. Oh, okay. So basically, is it better
How many
to do
times you're
three
going up?
shows a week, but you actually watch and reflect, or 300? Wait, 100 a year or 300 a year? Basically, is what it seems like the question is.
I mean, definitely 300 a
Yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah. Definitely.
If you can do more, right? So when you ask a question like that, the question I have for you is, why can't you do both, right? Why can't you do 3 times a week, watch your set, reflect on it, and then that way it affects your next set as you're going along. I know when I started and I was doing I probably did like between 4 to 7 sets a week for a couple of years. I would watch my set in the car on the way to the other set to modify my jokes, and then at the next set change that up, and then by the next set change that up. If I was doing like 2 to 3 or 4 a night, and every once in a while that's what I was doing because I wasn't going out every night. Like I was like, oh, I can do literally 4 on a Monday, so that's what I'm going to do, and then I can do 2 on a separate day. So that's how I rocked it for a couple of years.
Yeah. The more you can perform, the better. That's
Boom.
really
Yep.
what it comes
It's a
down to.
numbers game. It is a numbers game. Yeah.
That's I've said it on here before, but that's the number one advice on all the interviews. Get on stage. You got
Yep.
to get on stage.
Gots to get on stage.
And the final question here is from Kim Cottrell, who's actually a finalist in last month's $100 joke contest. She asks, first time hosting advice. Just have fun.
Yes. I'd probably say the big thing with hosting is uh first of all, get there early. Make sure you're setting up
Yes.
the tone for the entire show. That always is helpful. Get there before any of the comics get there. Make sure you check
Yes.
in with the venue. Um, ask them if they need anything. Always ask the venue if they need you to announce anything. That's an important thing in terms of like announcements,
Uh-huh.
things coming up, things that they've got going on, because then they're like, oh, okay, you're promoting what we're doing as well. That's an important factor. And know that, like, even with hosting, um, it's important to have jokes, but hosting isn't always about just telling your jokes. Hosting is truly mostly about putting the people in a good mood to enjoy the rest of the show. Even if it's an open mic, even if it's a showcase show, it's putting them in a good mood. And then, given with time, make sure you do your jokes and you're working out your set as well. But know that your job as a host is to set the mood for the show. That's your goal.
Yeah, great point on getting there early. Cuz yeah, as the host, yeah, you want to be calm, you don't want to be rushed and jittery,
Yeah.
like you want to get a feel for the environment, who's there, who's walking in, yeah, connect with the venue. The venue, you're basically co-workers. Like the venue is like your co-worker. You want to be working together on this show. So yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great point there. I think
Yeah.
the only other thing is if you ask the comics if they want an intro. But really, I mean, if it's an open mic and there's 20 people, don't worry about that. Just
Yeah.
read their names. Yeah, don't.
Read them. Yeah.
If it's like if you're like a club or it's a showcase, make sure you connect with the comics. Be like, all right, cool. What would you like me to say, like an intro? But if it's an open mic with a bunch of comics, don't worry about that.
Absolutely.
Um,
And I would also
and,
say, if you're doing a host and you have a lot of comics, if you have like anywhere from like 5 to 10 comics in between, do not do jokes in between.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Like, just skip it. Like, use the energy from the last person's set because it's their best joke to set up the energy for the next person to go up. Do not take a break in between that energy, other than saying, unless you've got like a quick one liner about the last set or a quick one liner about something that happened, try not to do jokes in between sets. Just
Mm-hmm.
move the show along as quickly as possible, because you also want to be precious about people's times. And if you're doing a new minute bit, you've already wasted that time by which that other person could have had as well. So just be precious about and be conscious about the time in between sets.
For sure. Yeah, I do like all your time up front, and then throughout the
All up
evening, you're
front.
just more of a facilitator. Like
Yeah.
you can check in with the audience, or
Maestro.
uh,
That's what
don't
you
forget
are.
to keep drinking, or like
Yep.
things like that. But yeah, keep it. You don't want to be what we call a host liner.
Host lining.
Host liner. That's
Host liner.
a host
Yeah.
liner.
You
Where they just
don't
go
want
up
to
in between
be
each
a
comic.
host liner. That
No,
is not something you want to be at all.
no,
Nah.
no. So, which I would never do. I would never at my show would I do that. I learned these things the hard way, so y'all don't have to.
Ah,
Or
that's
you
so.
learn the rules before you break them.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you learn things that are associated with certain comics. You're like, huh, I guess I never saw that person do that until you brought it up, and then I'm recognizing, oh, that's what host lining is.
Yeah. See, I'm just leading by example. And here's what not to do, kids.
That's the key. Here's what
No,
not
I
to do.
wouldn't. I
You've
wouldn't do
already,
that anymore. I want to get out of there.
oh boy.
I want to go home. What you mean?
Oh my god, my favorite stuff that you said. We came out just to get back in.
That's let's get out, but let's get back. That's my new. I love that joke.
That's such a great line, dude.
I love
Get
that
out
joke. It
just to get
works every time. Like on
every
early
time,
shows, like a
every
7 o'clock show.
every time,
Let's
every
get
time.
out, but let's get back.
Let's get back.
We don't want to go out and about. Let's let's have a game plan here. Jeopardy's on.
Jeopardy is on.
That's so fun.
So good, but so true.
Yeah, that's my audience. I like older rich people now. That's really
Yeah, welcome to
that's
the
my
club,
demo
buddy.
now. I like
Welcome to
people.
the club, baby.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I like my crowds with a 401k. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I like them close to retirement or just chilling with a bag at the house. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you
Amen.
understand the word 401k, come to my show.
But we're talking to comics who do not. Most are like, what?
Yeah.
What is
yeah,
that? A
for
new
sure.
cryptocurrency? Is that a new?
It's a
All right.
retirement fund, baby.
And the final
Remember
question here
Corey?
from Adam. Sorry, I just cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, so remember Corey Kane? He says my crowd has spent their 401k.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's
That's so
hilarious.
good.
But yeah, the final question here from Adam Vale. I work 70 hours a week and struggling to do 3 sets a week. Any suggestions?
Nah. I mean, here's the thing. Just get it in when you can get it in and make
Right.
the most of the time when you're there. Right. Here's the one thing that is frustrating to watch young comics do. Get to a mic and then be like, all right, let me try this real quick. Let me see what I'm doing. Oh,
Yep.
it is frustrating because have a game plan.
Yep.
That is your time. Use that time wisely. Make sure that you use that time so you get something out of it. Like it's an infuriating thing as a veteran. I don't want to call myself a veteran, but like as someone who's been doing it, who watches an open micer just go up there and just feel themselves out. It's like, what are we doing? What you're not working on crowd work. It's obvious that you're just trying to come up with something. No, work the joke out that you have been working on. That's the point of the open mic. So now I sound
Yes.
like an old grandpa. Back in
No,
my day, we used to
it's
just do
true.
jokes.
Yeah, it's very true. Sometimes open mics are interesting to where there'll just be some inside joke that evening that all the comics keep referencing and calling back, and it's like, yo, you have 3 minutes. Like,
3 minutes.
show up with a game
That's
plan.
your
What do you want to?
that's your 3 minutes.
Yes, you left
Yeah.
the
And
house. You have to
imagine you
be up early
and
for
imagine
work.
you've been working, yeah, you've been working 70 hours and then you just go and just do the 3 minutes, or you watch somebody else, you're like, what what was that? Like, did you just spend your time just roasting the bartender? For what?
Yeah,
Did that is that gonna
exactly.
help your set for the next time you try to get on a showcase show? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It can be frustrating to watch.
yeah. Have a game plan. Have a set list. Go in with intention of things you
Absolutely.
intentionally, specifically want to work on. Make the most of that time. Everyone makes a big sacrifice to get on that stage for
Everybody
just
does.
5 minutes out of a 24-hour day. So make the most
Yep.
of that time by being
Yeah.
as prepared as possible ahead of time. And yeah, and just
So
get it in how you can fit it in. I mean, I remember having a day job and I would be out till midnight doing shows and then up at 6 to go back to Enterprise Rent a Car. Not to brag, I know. I know. I didn't want to flex on anyone too hard. But yeah, I used to wear a tie to work. Yeah. I used to wash cars in a tie. I was rolling in it. Yeah, and then there's also probably online like Zoom mics and stuff, which is better than nothing,
yeah,
honestly. Like it's still
absolutely.
accountability, it's still a way to say your jokes out loud.
Yep.
So, they're better than nothing. So if
Yep.
that's what you can squeeze in, go for it.
Yeah.
And
I'll
just
also say, also work on your jokes in like during your commute times, like on the way to work or
yeah.
on your way back from work. Say your jokes, especially if you're in the car by yourself. Um, Work out your jokes, say them, record them, repeat them. Like, try it again in a different kind of format. I remember Mark Norman just says he walks around his hotel room just saying the joke so he knows how it feels in his body. That was a
Right.
huge like lesson for me. It's just like, oh yeah, just say it. Like, see how it, you know, how you feel about it when saying the joke itself. So, in the times even when you're not working, there are times even in your day that you can still work on the joke itself.
Yeah, it's like sometimes people will go to a show and they're just bumping music beforehand, like on the way. Like listen to a set, like kind of get in
In
the
that
mindset
in the
of
mindset. Yep.
working on comedy.
Yeah. I go to open mics now the majority of the time, and I'm writing new stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'll tune out what everyone else is doing, and I'll just like write because I like being at the open mic. It's like inspiring, and so I'll just write new or just like be on my phone. Just and I'm not Instagram strolling. I'm literally writing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
another good. While you're in that creative mode, once you get off
Yep.
stage, maybe think of like tags and such while you're in that mindset. Well, let's land this plane here. That was
Let's do
that
it.
was a good one.
Yeah.
We got in some
From
good
pins,
pin. So we'd love to hear
from
what your favorite
pins.
pins are.
Yeah. Tell us
And
your pin.
we
What's
do
your
this live stream
game?
every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So join our email list so you can stay up to date with that and other hot breath happenings.
Bow.
Do you have anything you want to? Adam said he's driving at work right now. Actually, he drives for a living.
Nice.
Wow! Thank you for
Oh, that's
hanging
awesome.
out on the live
Absolutely.
stream.
Yeah. If you're in Atlanta, we'll be at the Helium Comedy Club, which is a new club out in the Alpharetta area.
Awesome.
It's a premium club that's like
So
got a bunch
nice.
of uh, different places in the country, and this is their newest one in Atlanta. It's in the burbs. It's like 10, 12 minutes away from me, so I freaking love that. I'm doing
I'll
a
be there.
showcase show, so I'll
I'm
be
gonna have to
there
pull
on
up on
Thursday.
that.
Yeah, pull up, baby.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to
yeah. I went
pull
to some
up on
weekend
them.
shows. I went to some weekend shows this past weekend, and it's like, oh, look at this club with like just new carpet and new sheets and just so
Oh, the
many new
Helium?
things in it.
You
Yeah,
talking about the Helium? Oh yeah, dude. It's
yeah.
so nice.
It is
It's
like,
so
oh,
nice.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
it's like
It's next level.
it's like
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
like
it's got a it's like a new fresh club smell. You know what I mean?
yeah, 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 yeah. It was cool. I went and checked it out, and like several of the staff were super hyped on Hot Breath.
Sure
They were
was.
about
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
life.
yeah.
Yeah, they were in the Hot Breathiverse.
Yeah,
It was very cool to see.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So I got that Thursday, and then I'll be next week. I'll be opening for the homie and hot brethren Adam Mueller up in Tampa.
Let's
We're doing a
go.
show out there.
Oh my gosh.
Tampa DA baby. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I think we're doing an entire weekend, so I think it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday shows. Man, come check us out if you're in the
All
Tampa area, the
right.
14th through the
All
16th.
right. All
That's Adam Mueller.
right.
That sound effect.
That's
All
that boy
right.
Adam Mueller, baby.
Yeah, and we do this live stream every Tuesday, so hopefully you can join us next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, you got shows
Um,
coming up?
You know, I had one this weekend that they got canceled. It got canceled,
Oh.
but guess what didn't get canceled? That
What?
deposit. That's why you do a deposit, kids. It's exactly why you do a deposit.
Yo, we really should game some people up on sort of the art of comedy contracts. I think it's an important thing to learn of,
Mhm.
you know, especially if you're doing like longer time, get that deposit money, because if this is your livelihood and they cancel, you are SOL.
Yep. I mean, I had a. You know what? What's funny? I had a corporate gig Thursday where,
Mm.
yeah, we'll get you the deposit. I followed up. Sorry, within 30 days we'll have the deposit. 2 weeks out from the show, I follow up. Oh, you know what? We had a sponsor fall through. We're gonna have to cancel. And I was like, just so you know, like, that's why I asked for a deposit. This is a busy time.
Yeah.
When you book talent in the future, please be respectful of their time, because I had to say no to things to say yes,
Yes.
to your event.
Absolutely.
And this was like a corporate event that you're like, oh, it'll be fine. It'll
sure.
get done.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
no.
yeah. The check's usually clear. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, that's part of the game.
Anybody can get it, and anybody can cancel on you. So yeah, it's always important. Get them contracts and get them deposits when you can. It's an important
Yeah.
factor when you're a full-time comedian, that you just got to protect yourself.
50.
'Cause you don't
I do
know
a
what they're doing.
50% deposit.
Absolutely.
Is what
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
was
that's industry standard right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
We had
Nice.
one at the Buzzer from South Africa.
Oh, I mean,
So I feel like we
Nice.
got to answer.
absolutely.
They say they're struggling to decide between English and their native language. Any advice?
I think it's about who's in your audience, right? If your audience is more native and they understand the jokes in that language, then do that. But if your audience is English and you've got that kind of area, or they're like expats or people that just know the language, or I know some people in the Hot Breathiverse and in the comedy community, they do both. I've got a friend up in Brazil. She's in Canada. She's Brazilian. She does comedy in French, Portuguese, and English. Just do it all. If you got that skill set, I mean, Stefan
Dyer. Yeah.
Dyer does it in both languages.
Yep,
Put out a
Spanish
special in
and
English,
English.
but also does it in Spanish as well. Yeah, like don't let the language barrier be the deciding factor. Just do it in both if possible. But it's really just about your audience and what you can get in front of regularly.
Exactamundo. So let's land the plane. Hot Breath Verse. We appreciate y'all hanging out on this week's Hot Breath Live. Go join our email list so you can get updates on all the Hot Breath happenings.
Yeah.
But let's get out of here. I gotta go treat this heartburn.
Yeah. And go check out my comedy special, American African, on the Hot Breath Network. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bow.